Hello everyone, welcome to the IAS Mentor Current Affairs class. In this class, you are going to understand one current affairs news related to environment and biodiversity, that is the BBNJ news. The BBNJ Treaty, Biological Diversity of Areas Beyond National Jurisdiction. We will understand in detail that. One small announcement for you. Many students are requesting us to start complete mentorship program for cracking prelims 2026. We are finalizing the details. You will be given daily targets, daily tests also will be there, weekend tests also will be there, comprehensive tests also will be there. We will come out with the comprehensive plan, complete plan, and you will come to know soon. For further details, please keep following the IAS Mentor channel. Similarly, we are going to launch other programs also, like a current affairs specific program and places in news. We will cover as many places as possible which are going to come in the examination. So overall, our effort is to help you to crack this examination. For further details of the courses, please keep following the IAS Mentor. Let us see, what is BBNJ Treaty? BBNJ Treaty is a treaty which is trying to deal with biological diversity which is there in high seas. Already there is one agreement called or one convention called United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. This is the law which tried to solve the territorial issues or the borders between the countries with respect to oceans. For example, suppose this is ocean. Now, if there is a resource here, forest resource, the mineral resource, islands, various resources are there, immense resources are available in the open seas. Who should use these resources? These resources belong to whom? Suppose if the resource is located here, that belongs to India, that is very clear. If there is a resource belong to this area, that belongs to Sudan country. But what about the resources which are there here? This is the earth. Earth belongs to everyone. In the past, while sharing these kind of resources, there were continuous wars and battles. First World War happened, Second World War happened, before World War I, multiple times wars happened. Colonization has taken place. Completely countries were colonized by Europeans. Continuous wars and battles were taking place in the oceans. That is why after Second World War, entire humanity decided that we should not fight for these resources like this. There should be a mechanism to share these resources. They do not belong to any particular country. Suppose if they are belong to any particular country means whoever powerful, whoever can capture these resources, they will enjoy all the benefits. But out of 190 plus United Nations countries, all countries do not have that kind of technology, that kind of resource to use these resources. As a result, what happens? Somewhere advanced country, from there they will come. They will mine here, they do drilling here, they will pollute this area. And after the pollution, they will go, they will take the resource and they will go. But ultimately, pollution should be bare by whom? The people who are located hereby. That is why then it will create diplomatic row and it will create even wars also. That is why there must be some kind of mechanism that up to what extent belong to this particular country, what extent resources belong to this particular country, beyond that it is open for all. That is what UNCLOS, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Law of the land means on our land there will be a law. Our Indian constitution is our law. But there must be a law for the open seas also, the seas. That is why UN Convention on the Law of the Sea. As per this one, 12 nautical miles, that means around 20 to 23 kilometers, belongs to territorial waters. It's like our continuity of the territory. Up to 200 nautical miles, that means around 370 kilometers from here to here also, India can freely use. India has sovereign rights. Similarly, this countries also will have the same kind of rights. 200 nautical miles. Now 200 nautical mile this side, 200 nautical mile this side. Now what about this area? This area is called high seas, open seas. They are open. Any country can use it, but there must be a law. Otherwise, someone will come and pollute. Ultimately, pollution do not have any borders. Climate has no borders. Pollution has no borders. There must be some kind of mechanism now how to utilize these resources also. Now it is clear cut that up to this extent these countries can utilize the resources, but beyond that also there must be one kind of agreement. That agreement coming up in this format. Under this law, this is like mother law, and below that different agreements will be there. One agreement is related to biodiversity of these high seas. That's why this is also known as High Seas Treaty. Remember this. Full form is different, but in short form it is also called High Seas Treaty. If we see this one, this is of High Seas Treaty. See this? The law which is applicable in the open waters, high seas. What is the full form of this? The agreement under UNCLOS on the conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction. Beyond national jurisdiction means this one. Up to here national jurisdiction, but beyond national jurisdiction. Up to here national jurisdiction, beyond national jurisdiction. So there must be some kind of a law. Otherwise, again, whoever rich, whoever having technological advancement, they come and they take the resources. Pollution, when pollution goes to the poor country and resources will go to the rich country. Inequitable distribution, conflicts will emerge again. That is what biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction. This it has some fundamental elements. So this is the one which is depicting whatever I have explained, that from the baseline up to 12 nautical miles territorial sea, from there up to 200 nautical miles it is called exclusive economic zone. Beyond that it is called high sea. And this is the place. In this place, what should be the law for this humanity? So that people will not fight for these resources. Everyone can get equitable access to those without destroying the nature. It is in the news because in 2023 it was decided that there must be some kind of agreement, and it was open for ratification. The agreement is if 60 countries ratify it, then it will come into force. Recently, the 60th country on 19th September 2025, Morocco became the 60th country to ratify the agreement, setting the stage for its entry into force in January 2026. 60 countries signed. What is the 60th country? Morocco. Where Morocco is located? Morocco is located in this part. Remember this? Geography related question also. Morocco is located in this part near to Portugal and Spain. This was the 60th country. Now, this biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction now can come into force after 2026 January. This is the context. That is why it is in news. Now, when it comes to the features, simply the differences between UNCLOS and BBNJ agreement is, this is the mother law, and below it there will be different laws, like Indian Constitution is the mother law, and below that so many laws are passed by the parliament. Similarly, one law, it is a framework for complete entire oceans. Below that, specific one, that is biological diversity related, this agreement. Agreement under UNCLOS on the conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction. Because if it is nearby our coastal area, we will try to clean our nature, we will try to make our oceans very clean, and we will use our resources. Suppose if it is our beyond national jurisdiction, there must be some kind of mechanism where you also can use and other people also can use without conflict. Nature is implementing agreement under unclause, supplements and expands its scope. Next one, adopted, enter into force after 60 ratification. What is the focus? Focus on conserving the biodiversity, like so many coral reefs are there. Tropical forests are there, marine tropical forests are there in islands. If we don't conserve them, and this conservation is very, very important, otherwise we lose a lot of knowledge that is fundamental to understand the existence itself, because human life evolved from the water. Even today also there is so much amount of biodiversity beneath the water, which is giving clues to how our humanity evolved, how this life evolved on the earth. If there is a space mission, if you go to the Mars, if you go to some other planet, there is no life there, and it is a very, very unique planet in the solar system and in the existing nature, that the life is there on the earth. But still we are not able to understand how this life evolved. So many answers are there beneath the water. If we destroy that nature, if we destroy that biodiversity, we will not get the answers. And also, so many resources are available, particularly for the diseases which humanity is getting, solutions are there beneath the water. Humanity evolved after crossing the viruses, bacteria, so many threats always are there for the humanity. Somehow humanity evolved, and today human species are flourishing on the earth. But still there is always danger for any kind of disease, any kind of human complete destruction. The solutions are there beneath the water. Focus on conserving. That's why we have to conserve that nature, and sustainable use. If there is mineral resource, if there is any kind of biological resource, we have to use it. Marine biodiversity in areas beyond national jurisdiction, high seas plus deep sea bed. So this is legal. So primary convention is mother law is UNCLOS, and secondary implementing treaty is on top of it UNCLOS. Is it clear so far? So UNCLOS is one law, and below it biological diversity areas beyond national jurisdiction, a separate treaty to deal with that. The treaty addresses 4 important themes. Now whatever the themes we have discussed so far, just 4 lines will come. Marine genetic resources. Marine life is there. Suppose if I show you marine life, you can see this below the water, lot of diversity is there below the water, and if we destroy them, we are losing these resources on one hand, and we are using the same resources for our scientific exploration also. These are the same answers even for the space exploration also, and that knowledge we are going to lose. That's why we should preserve it. This earth is not only for the humans, it is for all species. That is why we have to preserve it. And in fact, if we destroy it, we human beings are only going to destroy ourselves. We need resources always for food. We need resources. Our oceans are very, very important in regulating the climate change also. If temperature rises, if sea level rises, then many islands are going to submerge. Now the people who are living on these islands have to migrate to some other place, and there if they migrate to new places, again conflict will come. These open seas are very much regulators of the climate. Now if the pollution is there, then every climate change takes place nearby that area, and overall if something happens, it is going to affect the global climate also. So everything is connected. It's like a system. On the earth, it is like a system. Oceans, forests, deserts, land, everything, mountains, everything is a part of system. If disturbance takes place in one place, one component of the system, it disturbs entire system. That is why we have to preserve it. And also, humanity always used resources from the nature. We can use the resources. That's how we are using. But sustainably, we have to use, so that again nature will have a chance to regenerate these resources. If we exploit to that extent where mother nature cannot regenerate, then ultimately who are going to face the danger? We human beings only going to face the danger. This is the marine life. That is why now all countries are trying to come together to create one kind of mechanism how to conserve it. Marine genetic resources and their digital sequence information, including the fair and equitable sharing of benefits. A lot of information is there. If we conserve it, then we will get a lot of solutions to our human problem. Area-based management tools, including marine protected areas, creating certain areas where we can protect them. Environmental impact assessment. Now on the open seas, mining activities are going on. So many developmental activities are going on. Because of that, pollution takes place. Environmental impact assessments have to be taken care if there is any kind of project in the open ocean seas. Open seas. Capacity building and transfer of marine technology to all the stakeholders. It's not that only rich people have the knowledge and they will go and exploit the nature, and it is left, nothing left for the underdeveloped countries or poor countries. That is what exactly happened when it comes to industrial revolution in 1700s. England developed, Europe developed, America developed, Japan developed. What about rest of the world? They did not develop. By the time they started using coal and iron, the developed countries started telling that you are polluting the nature, you have to pay the price. How can poor countries pay the price? Already, who are the people who polluted already? Already developed countries polluted it. But the pollution challenge is not only for the developed countries, even for the poor countries also suffering. If there is climate change, if there is no rainfall, Africa is the mostly affected regions in the world. It is a desert area, drought prone area. Even if one season rain fails, then entire system collapse there. Grasslands will collapse, then animals will collapse, then people who are depending in that region collapse. Now you see, because of whom? Somewhere African people did not develop yet, but they are paying the price for the crime which they have not even know it. They are ignorant of it, but still they are paying the price. Same is the case with India also. We were colony, we were exploited. Now when we are trying to develop our industries, in developed industrialized countries are coming and saying, you should not pollute. Then we will say, no doubt, we don't want to pollute. Even we also want a clean environment. But we need technology. You are having technology, you give us technology. For we are not asking for free. You provide us for cheaper rate. So that it will be win-win situation. As a humanity whole, we can develop progress without pollution. But that is where, but developed countries don't see in that way. They already developed, and now also they want to do business with their latest technologies. That is where the friction is taking place between developed versus developing and underdeveloped countries. Now, capacity building means that only. Give that capacity to everyone so that everyone will try to preserve the nature. Capacity building and transfer of marine technology to everyone. So these are the 4 themes which are going to be part of this treaty. But again, this is a treaty. All like Indian constitution is like having a very noble themes, noble articles, noble provisions for the development of India. But when it comes to day-to-day implementation of the constitution, so many challenges are there. Constitution don't want caste system, but on the ground caste system is there. Constitution don't want to see people irrespective of the religion. It want to treat everyone equal, but on the ground level, based on religion, communal tensions are taking place. Similarly, treaty wants these advanced or modern or equitable solutions. But when it comes to the implementation, developed countries are not ready to give their technology. Underdeveloped countries, poor countries do not have the technology to protect it. That is where the challenge lies. So what are the challenges? So this is key component explanation of that. Challenges faced by this treaty mean this only. Knowledge and science, data gaps, bias, baseline uncertainty. Countries always, it is very difficult to exactly know where is the 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, where is territorial water. That is why it becomes difficult for the jurisdiction related element. Governance and institutional coordination with existing regimes, design of bodies. Under this treaty, we have to create certain bodies, some legal framework. and it should be applied for all the countries. In creating that governance model is another challenge. Legal normative, tension between freedom of high seas and conservation, ambiguous wording. On one hand, we want to make certain rules. At the same time, we also want these high seas are open for everyone. Now, on one hand, one law is saying this land, this area is open for all. On the other hand, you are saying there must be some kind of legality to protect this nature. Then conflict is happening between, on one hand, freedom, on the other hand, restriction. There must be some kind of mechanism how to solve this. Capacity implementation, developing states lack tools, funding, technical capacity. Finance and benefit sharing, ensure mechanisms for the marine genetic resources benefits, funding for implementation. Initially, to implement any kind of law, any kind of technology, you need funds. From where? Who will give the funds? Developed countries will give the funds with some kind of clauses that they need those resources. But developing countries and poor countries do not have that much resources. Then how you adjust? Political ratification, slow ratification of key state conflicting interests. And some countries say that we don't want to be bound by any kind of agreement. We want freedom. If they don't ratify, then these laws will not be applied there. Then how can you ensure if they pollute? So all countries have to ratify. Some countries may show objection, particularly developed countries. Monitoring or enforcement, remote areas, weak jurisdictional reach. Integration, need alignment with the fisheries, mining, climate regimes. So when you are talking about conservation of the biodiversity in the open seas, many fishermen are depending on the same resources. People are depending on the same ocean for the navigation of the shipping. And the same seas are useful for the marine drilling process or navy drilling, national security related elements. Now, how can you integrate all of them without any conflict? National translation, sovereignty issues, need for domestic legislation. This is at international law. Again, you need domestic laws also, which will align with this. Otherwise, implementation becomes difficult. One country have one law, another country will have another law. Then managing these laws become another major challenge. That is what is the way forward? Way forward is whatever challenges are there, just you have to give the solution to those challenges one by one. Ratification, universal adoption. If every country adopt it, then that means all countries are showing interest in it. Then we can find a mechanism. If some developed countries or if some countries don't ratify it, then if you bring a law, then how can you manage, how can you ensure that this law will be applied or implemented in those countries or in those jurisdictions? If everyone ratify, if universality is accepted, then it becomes easy. That means already every country is showing interest to protect the nature. Then it becomes easy for the implementation also. Operationalizing institutional architecture, creating proper bodies, bureaucratic systems, institutions, then it becomes easy for the implementation of the laws. Strengthening science, data, capacity building. In order to understand the open high seas, we need to collect the sufficient scientific data to understand it. Without understanding it, we cannot whether protect or destroy. We cannot do anything without knowing it. That is why you have to collect the scientific data, and capacity building is also required to know about the open high seas. Then deploy core tools, benefit sharing. If there is any kind of benefit, then it must be shared with the entire humanity. It should not be biased in nature. Whoever get the resources, so it should not be given to only those countries. Rather, it should be shared with everyone. Ensure equity, inclusion, meaningful participation. Aligning national policies and building national implementation capacity. Monitoring, compliance, transparency, adaptive governance. These are all general principles that while you are implementing any law, you can apply same for constitution, and if whatever constitution is saying, government must follow the constitution in transparent manner. Whatever laws passed by the parliament, it must be respected in spirit, in letter and spirit must be respected. The laws must be implemented in transparent manner, so that it becomes easy for the evaluation also. Public can come to know that what is the law government is using and what is the limitation, what is the strength. Similarly, all the countries are able to understand this law is whether working or not. if bureaucracy is working to implement this law, they come to know that how far it is implemented, how they are benefiting from the agreement. Monitoring, compliance, transparency, adaptive governance, mobilizing sustainable financing and innovative funding. So without funding, nothing is possible. Mobilize the finances, innovative funding, awareness, stakeholder engagement, public education, so that it becomes one of the popular agreement. Then everyone will accept to understand high seas, to share the benefits and to protect and to conserve the nature. Synergies with CBD, SDA, Sustainable Developmental Goals, Convention on Biological Diversity, because already other conventions are there. It's something like if Parliament bring a new law now, it should not be in conflict with any law that is already there. It should be in coordination with the previous laws. Then only India will develop. Otherwise, if one law says allowing a certain project, if another law says stopping the project, then how the development will take place? That is why you have to align this agreement with already existing agreements like conventional biological diversity. It is already one agreement is there, one convention is there, which is already taking care of biological diversity protection. But this agreement is exclusively focusing on high seas, whereas CBD talks about whole entire earth. So this has to align with that. Sustainable developmental goals. It also have many goals which are related to conserving nature and climate change. Solving the climate change issue, climate regime and other ocean governance bodies. So that is how. It should not be in silos. It should not be a separate agreement. It has to be in coordination with the existing bodies, existing conventions. So therefore, conclusion is no doubt it is one of the important milestone development, but transparent mechanism and also acceptance to this agreement is the key for the development. It marks world's first comprehensive legally binding instrument dedicated to the conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity beyond national jurisdiction. So if it is implemented, it is going to become a milestone. It is going to be the first which is exclusively dealing with the open seas biodiversity conservation. In this way, you can summarize it. It is a global common. That means it can be utilized by everyone on the earth. Whole humanity has the rights to understand this and also use the benefits which are coming out of it. All right. So this is what complete information about the BBNJ treaty. I will give question. I will just give answer this. Exclusive economic zone up to how many nautical miles from baseline? This is the one. Second one, BBNJ, Biological Diversity Beyond National Jurisdiction Treaty, also known as, what is the other name? Also known as what is the other name? All right. So these are the two questions. Try to answer in the comment box. This is one complete issue. It can be asked in mains also and in prelims also associated with biodiversity. All right. With this, we will end this class. Thank you. Thank you very much.